Benjamin Netanyahu is fighting for his survival. He is single-handedly blamed for prolonging the war with Hamas and then expanding it, while the Western allies have come back to rally behind him in the wake of Iranian missile and kamikaze drone attacks. He is facing increasing pressures within his country. Is Bibi biding his time in office? Our cover report on Fineprint explains.
October 7th, terror attack. Hamas fighters breached Gaza barriers. Thousands rampaged through Israeli communities. Surprise assault on unprepared forces. The devastating toll: 1,200 Israelis and foreigners killed, 250 taken captive, over 100 still remain hostage. The attacks also shattered Israeli military and intelligence reputations. Armed Forces Chief Halevi has now stepped down from his post, accepting responsibility. But what about Netanyahu? He hasn't said that he bears any responsibility for the attack. For 6 months, Israel has been pounding Gaza. The besieged strip has been reduced to rubble. The Israeli Prime Minister has time and again stated twin objectives for one of the deadliest bombing the world has ever seen. He vowed to eliminate Hamas and free the hostages. But Hamas remains a potent force and the hostages still remain in their captivity. Netanyahu has refused to change his war strategy as Gaza death toll passes 34,000 as Israel and Iran missile strikes grab global attention. The grim milestone comes as G7 leaders urge Netanyahu not to press ahead with Rafah invasion. But is he listening?
Therefore, we will deliver additional and painful blows on Hamas, and it will happen soon. In the coming days, we will increase the military and political pressure on Hamas, because this is the only way to free our hostages and achieve victory.
As Israel celebrates Passover, the mood is somber. Their voices against removal of Netanyahu keep getting louder.
Absolutely, there is no even a way of thinking that Netanyahu wants them back. Netanyahu wants the war to go on because of his trial, and he doesn't care about the hostages, he doesn't give a damn about them.
We cannot celebrate Passover until the hostages are brought home. Without the hostages, we won't have freedom, and without them, the state cannot exist.
Well, I think the situation in Israel is such that we need a change. We need Bibi to go because he is a disaster for Israel, economically and especially safety of the population in Israel.
Again, there is a wider divide within the Israeli government. Netanyahu accuses Defense Minister Yoav Gallant of leaking information from close security meetings, while cabinet ministers Benny Gantz and Itamar Ben Gvir each accuse the other of damaging Israeli security. As Israel grapples with multiple security concerns, Prime Minister Netanyahu's leadership faces scrutiny. Does the buck truly stop at his desk?
Retired Colonel Daniel L. Davis is a military expert and host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive on YouTube. Is now joining us live from Virginia. Welcome, Colonel Davis. Quick question, simple question, and I want a quick response. Who or what can remove Bibi despite him putting up a strong face and looking adamant?
The people of Israel. That's it. There's nobody else. We can put pressure all we want on the outside. Other members of the cabinet can do same things, but Only the Israeli people can make that happen. And right now, I don't see any evidence that that's coming, at least not soon.
This rift within the war cabinet has been ongoing for months on end. It almost makes it look like it's a one-man army kind of setup. What really makes it hard to get rid of the problem, even though the stain is a key figure, or a prime minister for that matter?
You know, it's just hard when you finally, go through all the political and the administrative processes to get to a prime minister, and especially during a time of war. It's just really difficult to undo that, no matter how many people want to, because there's always a lot of people on the other side that don't want to. They don't want change in the wartime. They want to wait till things get settled down a little bit, however defined, and then it's just hard to do. Any nation is like that. It's hard to replace a leader during wartime. But you see the pressures are starting to grow from within the Israeli government and external to it. And it wouldn't surprise me if enough pressure finally gets to the point to where some kind of change would happen. I don't know that it's imminent, but it really depends on what Netanyahu does in the coming days and weeks, especially regarding to Rafah and to what happens with those hostages. That could determine whether he stays longer or whether his end comes sooner.
Carlo Davis, let's talk about this external factor. The death toll in Gaza is rising, and Netanyahu seems unfazed. In fact, he wants to inflict more damage until Hamas is completely obliterated. That's according to him. Do you think there are some external forces who are emboldening the prime minister?
My personal opinion is that this is an internal issue with him. He does seem oblivious to any kind of external pressures, whether that's from the United States, from Great Britain, from some of the regional countries, or just global public opinion. He seems literally impervious to it, because I think he has just locked in, decided this is the path he's going to go. And it appears to me that until someone forces him to go from, within the Israeli government or the people of Israel, I think he's going to keep going. It's also important to point out that there are a lot of people in Israel that are completely behind what he's doing. A lot of those who support the right-wing government and some of their policies. And there's a lot, according to polls, there's a majority of Israeli people who still support Netanyahu. And I think that gives him all the steam he needs to keep going.
All right, I've been talking to a military expert, retired Colonel Daniel L. Davis from Virginia. Colonel Davis, thank you very much for talking to us today.
You bet. Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.